Right guys, we have a problem. Gimli, stay, be good. Gimli's pond is leaking. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We're gonna have to do something about this. It's not looking good in there, guys. What's up, all you cool snakes and neonates? How's it going? I hope you are all keeping well. So, as you probably guessed from the beginning, we've sprung a leak in the ship, you know. You guys may remember I built this beautiful enclosure here for Gimli, and eventually it's going to be for our mangrove snake. However, we've got a leak. So we're going to have to speed things up with changing some animals around. But first, have a look at this awesome YouTuber here. Woo! Look at that. That's a good YouTuber right there. Guys, if you haven't already, before we get into this, make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel and make sure you, like me right now, watch the videos and get our watching hours up. We've been teetering for about a year or so on being monetized, maybe even 2 years on being monetized. We just never quite get there. Partly my fault because I don't always manage to put things up between health and things like that. I'm ill right now. I'm filming 2 episodes today. I've been filming this episode for like 2 weeks. I have got another bad chest infection cold thing. It's horrendous. But I'm sick of letting it rule my life, so I'm just getting on with it. We're just going. I'm not feeling 100%, but we're going to get this video done. If you guys appreciate that, hit that subscribe button and comment in the video to say that you've subscribed through this video, guys. Now, let's get back down to the old Gimli. So this is our Gimli's enclosure, our male albino reticulated python. He's part dwarf, part super dwarf, part mainland. It's like 35-7 super dwarf, 35-7% mainland, and the rest, whatever percent, is dwarf. Basically, I think he's a dwarf. He's not going to be super dwarf size. He's already about 6 foot long. But he's a beautiful man, is our Gims. So, he sprung a leak. And as some of you may know, I sleep down here in the living room, and the animal room is upstairs. So, when I'm laying in bed trying to get to sleep, right now, Gimli is being very active, making loads of noise at night, which is great, but when he's blowing bubbles and farting in that pond there at night, waking you up with it and pushing against the roof trying to get out, maybe early signs of breeding season. I mentioned in the last video how Hunter, or Burmese python, is in breeding mode and super active and super destructive and super pain in the bottom. Gimli seems to be there too, which is a good sign because it means that if he's already sexually mature, he's not going to grow a hell of a lot more. That means that he's already approaching that sort of adult size. So hopefully 6 to 10 foot is what we're expecting out of him. He's about 5 to 6 foot just now. So I'm going to expect at the worst maybe 10 foot out of our Gims. But this, it's really annoying because this enclosure here, as you can see, it's a big Exoterra. It's like 3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot or something like that. It's a big enclosure. But Gimli sometimes looks small in it, like there. He looks absolutely tiny in it. But when he's stretched out, because he's an arboreal build, when he's curled up, he's quite thin. So he doesn't look very big. But then when he's stretched out, he looks massive in there. So it's really hard to properly build a vivarium for our Gims. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move him up into the animal room. I've had a 6.5-7 foot arboreal viv sitting in the attic for ages now. It got donated by someone from Montrose. I was going to put Gimli permanently in it when he was an adult, but I need him in it now. 6.5-7 foot arboreal is way too big for him. I know for a fact he will freak out and he won't be too happy in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down out the attic. I'm going to cut it down and we're going to make it into like maybe a 4 foot or something. We'll see what we feel like. I'll judge it from the space we have, but we're going to go and build him a bigger arboreal viv. It's going to be a lot deeper and it's going to be a lot taller. It's going to be bigger and better for him. And because he likes that bathtub in there, I'm going to pull the water tub out of the outdoor enclosure, and I'm going to give him a big cat litter tray water bowl so that he can still blow bubbles and fart in it as much as he wants, but he's going to do it upstairs where he's not going to annoy me while I'm sleeping. So let's go into the super secret reptile rich wood storage facility and pull out some wood and see what we can do and build this guy a bigger enclosure. So here it is dismantled. It looks a good size. As you can see, it's about the same height as the door. It would be far too big for our Gims, but we're going to cut this down and we're going to make it into a 4-foot. And this is what we've got so far. This is what I've come up with. It's actually turned out a lot bigger than I expected, but I think it's a perfect size for Mr. Gimli. Certainly as he grows, it's definitely going to be a good size as he gets a bit bigger and a bit bigger. I mean, I can fit in here pretty comfortably. It's another decent sized Viv. I've made it into 4 foot tall by about 2.5 foot deep and 3 foot wide. So it's a good size. It's a big, deep sort of arboreal Viv. It's going to be fantastic for our Gimli. I have varnished these bits, varnished these bits here and varnished the floor. Those were bits of plywood, brand new plywood that I had to cut to make size. I didn't film all that stuff because I didn't want to do 2 episodes of like a Hunter we'd be at the shelf and Hunter's Viv on the last episode, so we don't really want to do too much building stuff in a row. If you want to check that out, check out our last video. If you want to see more building stuff, if you want to see the building process of all these Vivs and things like that, please let me know in the comments below. Just say Reptile Rich, we would love to see more building stuff, or no, we're cool with just seeing the end product kind of thing. But this is going to be pretty good, so I need to put a shelf in here, we need to put some big branches in here for him to climb on and things like that. A vision in my head, I want it branched and things like that, plenty for him to climb on. Let's head up into the super secret store again and see what we can find climbing wise for our Gimli. So I figure you guys would kind of appreciate this. So the glass that was with the 6 foot, it's disgusting. So I actually machine polished it with glass polish and cleaned it and washed it and stuff, make sure there's no resin on it, and now it's super duper clean. You can't even see that glass there. I know some of you guys are like me and get a kick out of clean glass. That is definitely night and day. That gets me excited. Let me know in the comments below. Does that get you guys excited, that clean glass there? Woo! Now to do the other one. Whew! Being ill, already sweating and doing all this has not been easy, I'll tell you. The amount of times I've had that top off there to make the notches in the backs for all the stuff I've put in. I didn't think I had a light, and then I remembered I had that light there. Some of you may point out that that light doesn't have a cage on it like that does, but this is a non-heat emitting light. There's absolutely, that's cold. It's very slightly warm. Like, I can hold my hand on that. It's not hot at all. Plus, Gimli doesn't actually like the light. I don't know if it's an albino thing or something, but I've noticed he's not keen on the light. So he won't have that on all the time. That will basically just be viewing purposes when I'm in the room, when I've got friends in the room, when I'm doing waters and things like that. With the snakes and things, I don't have regular light cycles on them. It's literally just the lights go on for viewing purposes when I'm in the room or when we've got guests in the room, or I'll give them like every second day, I'll give them a day of daylight kind of thing. But they don't regularly get light here in the animal room. They just get natural light through the windows. But it's done. Finally done. So let's go and get the man himself and pop him in and see how he likes it. And here is the big man himself. Mr. Gims. There's Mr. Gims. Hello. Look what Dad's built for you. Hey. There you go. There you go, Mr. Gims. This one's got much better, less leaks. While Mr. Gimli gets acquainted with his new house, I'm going to tidy up the wires and things like that, secure everything how I want it secured. Got a bit of bedding stuck in his belly and it's annoying him, I can see him. Yeah, he's got a swimming pool in there. There's not too much greenery just now. I wanted to put more greenery in, but I've literally run out of greenery. So if anyone wants to donate some fake leaves and things like that to Reptile Rich, hit me up in the comments below. But this is literally the last little dregs of greenery that I had that I just threw together just to add some colour into the Viv. You need some greenery in the Viv. If not for the animal, for yourself, for how it looks. So I'd like to get some more in here, but for the time being, this is going to do him. This will be fantastic. I mean, look at him stretched out now. This Viv is plenty big enough for Mr. Gims there. Isn't it, my son? Loads for him to climb on and do and see. So I'm going to adjust the temperature. The Viv has been running for about 48 hours, but I've been adjusting temperatures and things like that, so I'm going to make sure everything's good and let's let him settle in. Well, Mr. Gims, he's not doing much exploring right now. He is a little bit of a timid snake sometimes, so it'll probably take him a minute to come out of his shell, but you can see there the size of him compared to the enclosure. It's a good size enclosure for our Gimli. Nice size. Isn't it, my handsome man? Update for you guys, the handsome big hunter is using his basking shelf. Got a big rat in there just now and he's using it, so he has been thermoregulating. He seems to favour the cooler section than the warmer section, which is very interesting. Got a big poop there I need to clean up, but yeah, he's doing pretty well. He's not destroyed the plants too much. I mean, they have moved a bit, but he's a big boy. And Gims is currently exploring. Two happy pythons. So hunter, technically, I always say, is about the second biggest snake in the world. The Burmese python is, you can get them 18 foot. A herd of females get into about 20 foot. And then the reticulated python and their mainland form is the longest snake in the world. Females are known definitely to be able to get up to 20 foot long. So right here you've got the second longest snake in the world and the longest snake in the world. Trying to keep them happy. Yep, doing just nicely. Doesn't he look amazing in there, guys? Ooh. Beautiful snake. In a basic, but still pretty enclosure. He looks amazing in there. Of course, on screen, it doesn't do it justice. His colours, everything, he just looks beautiful in there. He's having a good explore. You having a good explore, my handsome? I can still see he's got a bit of bedding stuck under one of his belly scales. I can see it from this angle. I can see it annoying him because he keeps lifting the scale trying to get rid of it. I may have to help him out with that in a bit. We'll see. Oh, I just can't stop watching him. I've got stuff to go pick up at the post office and I don't want to go because this is what I love about giving them nice enclosures and things in their enclosures to enrich them and to keep them entertained and stuff. I mean, his mind right now must be going a million miles a minute, just like Jack Skellington, Nightmare Before Christmas. And what's this? What's this? Isn't it, my handsome boy, Mr. Gims? So the bedding is still a bit wet in there. I put a little handful of dry cocoa cocoa bedding in there just to mix it through and try and dry it out a bit, because of course from the leak the bedding was still a bit wet, still a bit damp. So yeah, that'll hopefully dry out. He's got a fantastic temperature gradient now. He's got his basking spot. I've been keeping an eye on it with the temperature gun the last sort of 24 to 40 hours that I've had this Viv running, and checking all the temperatures. He's got a fantastic plethora of basking temperatures all throughout this Viv. It's really good for him. He can choose what temperature he wants. He's already been up at that light and it's not bothered him at all. I have just noticed though that I haven't fixed the cable to the light to the roof, so I'm going to have to do that in due course. I think he's about to go through it right now. Maybe, maybe not. He'll probably do it tonight though, so I'll have to pull him out and fix that. But amazing. Isn't that wonderful, guys? Look at that. Just stunning. Absolutely stunning. Now, as always, don't forget to comment on the video, like the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my ugly mug right there. There'll be a playlist for you right there, and there'll be a random video selected for you just down here. From me, Gimli, and the rest of the gang, thank you very much for tuning in. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.